When replacing challenge tandem circuit breakers, specifically the 20/20 and 15/15 models, several suitable substitutions are available from other manufacturers. For the Challenger 20/20, which is a 20 amp tandem breaker, you can use the Siemens Q220 at100 or Q220 A120. Eaton offers the BRJ220 as a replacement. Schneider Electric provides the AQD220. Bussmann has the CHBR220, and Littelfuse offers the PCBR220. For the Challenger 15/15, which is a 15 amp tandem breaker, the Siemens equivalent is the Q220 A150 or Q220 A115. Eaton's replacement is the BRJ215. Schneider Electric provides the AQD215. Bussmann offers the CHBR215, and Littelfuse provides the PCBR215. When selecting a replacement, it is crucial to consider several factors. Firstly, ensure that the replacement circuit breakers have the same amperage rating as the original Challenger circuit breakers. This means if you are replacing a 20 amp breaker, the replacement must also be rated for 20 amps. Similarly, for a 15 amp breaker, the replacement must be rated for 15 amps. Secondly, verify the voltage rating of the replacement circuit breakers. The original Challenger circuit breakers are rated for 120 volts, so the replacements must also be rated for 120 volts to ensure proper operation and safety. Thirdly, understand that double-pole circuit breakers, like the 20/20 and 15/15, are required for 120 volt service in many applications. This configuration provides protection for both legs of the circuit. It is also recommended to use tandem circuit breakers from the same manufacturer for optimal performance and compatibility. While mixing manufacturers may seem feasible, using circuit breakers designed to work together can reduce the risk of unforeseen issues. Always refer to the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes before performing any electrical work. Electrical codes, such as the National Electrical Code, or NEC, provide specific guidelines and requirements for circuit breaker installation and replacement. Following these codes ensures the safety and compliance of the electrical system. When working with electrical systems, safety is paramount. Always to energize the circuit before working on it to prevent electrical shock. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as insulated gloves and eye protection. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, it is best to consult a qualified electrician. Understanding circuit breakers involves knowing their basic function. Circuit breakers are designed to protect electrical circuits from overcurrents, which can be caused by short circuits or overloads. When an overcurrent occurs, the circuit breaker trips, interrupting the flow of electricity and preventing damage to the circuit and equipment. Tandem circuit breakers, also known as twin or slimline circuit breakers, are designed to allow two circuits to be installed in the space of a single standard circuit breaker. This can be useful in situations where panel space is limited. However, it is important to ensure that the use of tandem circuit breakers is permitted by local electrical codes and that the panel is designed to accommodate them. When installing a replacement circuit breaker, ensure that it is properly seated in the panel and that all connections are tight. Loose connections can cause arcing and overheating, which can lead to electrical fires. After installing the replacement circuit breaker, test it to ensure that it is functioning properly. This can be done by turning on the circuit and verifying that power is being supplied to the connected equipment. If the circuit breaker trips immediately, there may be a problem with the circuit or the circuit breaker itself. In addition to the manufacturers mentioned earlier, other brands may also offer suitable replacements for Challenger tandem circuit breakers. However, it is important to carefully research and verify the compatibility of any replacement circuit breaker before using it. Consulting with a qualified electrician can provide valuable guidance in selecting the appropriate replacement circuit breaker for your specific application. Understanding the different types of circuit breakers is also important. In addition to standard circuit breakers and tandem circuit breakers, there are also ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and arc fault circuit interrupters, or RFCIs. GFCIs are designed to protect against electrical shock by detecting ground faults, while FCIs are designed to protect against electrical fires by detecting arc faults. These specialized circuit breakers are often required in specific locations, such as bathrooms and bedrooms, to enhance safety. When working with electrical panels, it is important to be aware of the potential hazards. Electrical panels can contain live wires and components that can cause serious injury or death if touched. Always exercise caution and follow proper safety procedures when working with electrical panels. If you are not comfortable working with electrical panels, it is best to consult a qualified electrician. Maintaining electrical systems involves regular inspection and testing of circuit breakers and other components. This can help identify potential problems before they become serious. Circuit breakers should be tested periodically to ensure that they are tripping properly. This can be done using a circuit breaker tester, which simulates an overcurrent condition and verifies that the circuit breaker trips as expected. In addition to testing circuit breakers, it is also important to inspect wiring and connections for signs of damage or corrosion. Damaged or corroded wiring can cause electrical problems and increase the risk of electrical fires. Replacing Challenger tandem circuit breakers requires careful consideration and attention to detail. By following the guidelines outlined in this discussion and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that the replacement is done safely and correctly. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electrical systems and to follow all applicable codes and regulations. When replacing circuit breakers, it is also important to consider the age and condition of the existing electrical panel. If the panel is old or damaged, it may be necessary to replace the entire panel to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Replacing an electrical panel is a complex task that should only be performed by a qualified electrician. In addition to the specific replacement circuit breakers mentioned earlier, it is also possible to use standard circuit breakers in some cases. However, this may require modifying the panel or adding additional wiring. Before using standard circuit breakers as replacements for tandem circuit breakers, it is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that it is a safe and code-compliant solution. Understanding the different types of electrical panels is also important. There are several different types of electrical panels, including load centers, distribution panels, and subpanels. Each type of panel is designed for a specific purpose and has its own set of requirements. When working with electrical panels, it is important to understand the type of panel you are working with and to follow the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes. In addition to replacing circuit breakers, it is also important to properly label them. Circuit breakers should be labeled to indicate the circuits they control. This makes it easier to identify and troubleshoot electrical problems. Circuit breaker labels should be clear and accurate. When labeling circuit breakers, it is important to use a permanent marker or label maker. This will prevent the labels from fading or peeling off over time. In addition to labeling circuit breakers, it is also important to maintain a circuit directory. A circuit directory is a list of all the circuits in the electrical panel and the areas or equipment they serve. The circuit directory should be kept in a safe and accessible location. When updating the circuit directory, it is important to be accurate and thorough. This will help ensure that the directory is useful for troubleshooting electrical problems. Replacing Challenger tandem circuit breakers is a common task that can be performed safely and effectively by following the guidelines outlined in this discussion. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electrical systems and to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions or concerns. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work. When selecting a replacement circuit breaker, it is important to consider the interrupting rating of the circuit breaker. The interrupting rating is the maximum amount of current that the circuit breaker can safely interrupt. The interrupting rating of the replacement circuit breaker should be equal to or greater than the available fault current at the point of installation. The available fault current can be determined by consulting with a qualified electrician or by performing a fault current study. Installing a circuit breaker with an inadequate interrupting rating can be dangerous and can lead to equipment damage or personal injury. In addition to the interrupting rating, it is also important to consider the short circuit current rating, or SCCR, of the electrical panel. The SCCR is the maximum amount of short circuit current that the panel can withstand without damage. The SCCR of the panel should be equal to or greater than the available fault current at the point of installation. Installing a panel with an inadequate SCCR can be dangerous and can lead to equipment damage or personal injury. When working with electrical systems, it is important to be aware of the different types of grounding systems. There are several different types of grounding systems, including grounded systems, ungrounded systems, and impedance grounded systems. Each type of grounding system has its own set of requirements and considerations. When working with electrical systems, it is important to understand the type of grounding system you are working with and to follow the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes. In addition to grounding systems, it is also important to be aware of the different types of bonding systems. Bonding is the process of connecting all metal parts of an electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Bonding helps to reduce the risk of electrical shock and to prevent the buildup of static electricity. When working with electrical systems, it is important to ensure that all metal parts are properly bonded together. Replacing Challenger tandem circuit breakers is a task that requires careful attention to detail and a thorough understanding of electrical systems. By following the guidelines outlined in this discussion and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that the replacement is done safely and correctly. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electrical systems and to follow all applicable codes and regulations. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work.